Live straight from the swamps of southern Louisiana, B.S.ing with the guys. I am Shane. With me is my co host, my partner in crime, Brad, the one who actually started all this. Hey, why don't we do a podcast? All we do is sit around and talk shit anyway. And
All
I
we
was
do
like,
is bullshit,
okay.
man. Yeah, I'm glad to be
and
back, man. I look
yep,
forward to this all the time. So,
yep, a
yeah,
lot of shit going on, man. You've seen, I've been watching a lot of the highlights with the football games, and you see a
yeah,
lot of these players after they're scoring doing that Trump dance and shit now. It's amazing how it's just changed like a total 180, you know what I
well,
mean?
you saw the boxer last night.
Oh,
I say
yeah,
boxer,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah,
UFC guy?
yeah,
Yep.
UFC guy.
Yeah, I think he ran over there and, like, greeted Trump
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
he jumped
handed
the
him the
fence,
belt.
and I think he
Yeah,
gave him the belt. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, dude.
yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
amazing how that's
it
changed.
is, man. It's a phenomenon that's going on, and and I don't know. As we hit on it, when you and I discuss what we're going to talk about and get our stuff ready, Shane, it's just,
No,
I mean, he
no, it's
really
just
has a chance to just to kind of clean up, man, and clean up this
no, it's
government, and
good to see we're back as far as the country. I
yes,
mean, we're back on the right track, man. When you're starting to see, just the whole football thing and these
right,
athletes that are not afraid to get up there and do their little dances, even though it's some of it's goofy, but it's just good to see that they're not afraid to do that. We're back
absolutely,
before that was the last thing they would have touched was anything to do with Trump, you know.
without a
So
doubt.
it's it's
Yeah,
it's it's awesome, man. He's got a lot of support behind him, and I was thinking of that. The support is probably more than we know because I'm sure you saw that map that they pulled up where the only states that she won were the
yes.
ones where they didn't require voter ID.
Isn't that something?
So
Isn't
that,
that
it just tells you that. I mean, there's no telling how many more of those states he would have grabbed if it were done legitly.
legit? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It still makes you believe that there is some improprieties when it comes to the whole voting thing, And I don't understand. Most sacred thing we have in this country, for the most part, is voting, and you can
yeah.
vote without an ID.
I
So
never understood that. I mean, I
me
get the
neither.
argument from their side because they're trying to pull votes, but I mean, I don't even know how that's legal at all in any state. I mean, I don't
Right.
know. I know you like to have states' rights, but that should just be something that's federally controlled when it comes to the
Yes.
president. You know what I mean? When
Yes.
you're electing the president of the United States, it should just be a nationwide law. And
Exactly.
I don't understand why that hasn't been
Yeah. And
done
like
yet.
you were.
Which I
Yeah.
go
No.
ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna say, I guess I understand because one side don't want it, so they're never gonna vote it in Congress,
Exactly.
but
Yeah, like you hit on just I don't know, 30 seconds ago. It's like, yeah, look, state of California or wherever. If you want no ID in your state, then y'all have at it, man. But if it should be federal. If you're
yeah,
voting in
until
a
they
federal election, you know
yes.
what I'm saying? If it's senator, representative, presidential, judgeships, federal judgeships, if you vote on that kind of stuff, yes, you need a vote, an ID to vote.
Yeah, I'm with you. That makes it simple. If it's
Yeah,
federal, voter
yeah,
ID. If it's state, do what you want. You wanna be
do
that
what you
ignorant
want.
in your state, and
Yeah, which a
but
lot of them are.
well, yes, they are, man. Yes, they are. I was reading, right before I got on here, I pulled up a little article, man, about the Pentagon with $2.46 trillion misplaced out of out of the 4.1 trillion in assets, like 60% of it they can't even account for.
Isn't that something?
How do you do that?
And I don't think this is new. I mean, if you really go back
No, yeah,
to the
no.
9/11 with Donald Rumsfeld with the Bush administration, um, and I think that's what leads the conspiracy of the 9/11. You can take it where you want. Did it happen? Was it set up or whatever? But I remember Rumsfeld came out. I don't know if it was a week or two before, saying they're missing like almost $2 trillion or $1.5 trillion is unaccounted for in the Pentagon. So I don't think it's new news, but it's like,
Right.
how does it keep going from 9/11 to 2024?
Well,
So
the worst part is from what I understand, like they never pass an audit ever.
ever.
They never
Nope.
have. You
No.
know what I mean? So I'm with you.
Yes.
It's not anything new. It's just I guess these numbers are starting to come to light, and it's like holy shit. Like if we sat there and if it's $1,000 misplaced on our tax shit, or if we get audited, they're
Oh,
they're looking to drop the hammer down on us. With hefty fines and threat of jail time and all this other bullshit. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like I've always said, the IRS will spend $1 million to collect 1,000. So,
Yeah, yeah. That's
you
how
know,
stupid they are, and that's the type of shit. One of these appointments he's made with that whole Doge team. That's the kind of shit that hopefully they're going to stop.
Yeah.
Just the god awful amount of money wasted of taxpayer money. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was listening to some news today, and yeah, basically, man, I mean, it looks like they're going to go hard after the Department of Education. So I think that's going to kind of be their first hurdle. Um, and when you look at the money that they spend, it's just wow, you know.
Yeah, yeah, on the Department of Education for
Yeah,
one, and yeah, I like to putting that in the state's hands because then when they start,
absolutely. Yeah,
trying to force the type of shit that they want to push on some of these children, it's up to
yes,
if your state doesn't want to do that shit, you're not forced to do it.
exactly right. Yeah,
Which I would think even with Trump in office, that's about to change anyway, just nationwide as far as the curriculum that the government tries to push on children. You
I
would
could
think,
see it. Yeah, I could see it. So
yeah.
who we got, man? Mama Bear, she's back. Hello, Mama Bear.
Mama
Thank you for
Bear,
tuning in, and Amy. Hello, and I don't know who that is with BSing with the guys, but hi.
some asshole typing on there.
Hello. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I just look, it's way overdue. We've got so many entrenched employees in the federal government, bureaucrats, or that something has to be done.
yeah,
It's just it's time, and
yeah.
it looks like it's going to happen. Now, look, I think it's going to be an uphill battle to make it happen, but I think it will happen. You know,
Yeah, I'm with you. I was looking at let me see what he just came out that he appointed. Let me find my bookmark. It looks like Brendan Carr to lead the FCC, which is, Trump calls him a warrior for free speech. So I mean, I
yeah,
guess, I guess that's good. I don't know who the hell
and
the
that's
guy is, but
yeah. I haven't done much research on him, but yeah, I think it's a good thing. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
I think anybody that's going to possess free speech and First Amendment, which is free speech, yeah, I just yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with it. So
no,
and look, I think Trump's that kind of guy. If you're not living up doing what you said you're going to do, he's not going to really keep you around. So
I would think so. This go around for sure. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely,
I don't think he's there for the bullshit now. He doesn't figured out how the game is played. You know what I mean? And
you
I
would
think
hope.
he's gonna put people up there he's got a lot more trust in than he did the first time. Because he got screwed over a few times on that first go around for sure. Just bad advice and shit. Nothing really of his fault, but he didn't know, man. It was his first time. They just kind of like, oh, you won. Here you go. Here's the
Yeah,
government.
exactly.
It's like,
Yeah, he
holy
was a
shit. Like,
businessman, he wasn't a
yeah,
politician, he wasn't a career
yeah.
politician. But
It's
it was
like,
interesting. I was listening this morning to some stuff, and Ramaswamy was on there. And of course, after him, some I think it was Tim Coon, Democrat, came on saying,
yeah,
"I find it interesting that head of the Doge is a guy that takes subsidies from the government. Elon Musk is what I'm talking about.
right,
That
right.
he takes these subsidies for EVs, and it's basically like Trump said back in 16. Well, the laws are there. Why would I not use them if they're there?
Sure.
So if you want them gone, get rid of them. And I think he's almost cool with that. Elon.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I'm
so,
with
but
you. I'm
I think
with
the
you.
accountability. If you look at what he did with Twitter and then X, I think it has potential to clean up a lot. So
Yeah. I seen Mama Bear was something up that Cash, as the FBI director. And
yeah,
yeah, I think he's a good choice for sure. I'm hoping he appoints him.
yeah,
I really do. I think that's a good option.
yeah. He was on there today talking about the whole J6 thing, and the
Yeah.
documentation that he has and that he's seen, and uh, even they have to deal with these Pfizer courts too, because what little bit I have learned about these damn things is that these lawyers can go straight to these judges without the judges' names being mentioned and just say, "Hey, BSing with the guys are doing this. We need a warrant," and they give it to them with no
Wow.
evidence. Yeah, I mean
That,
that's basically what these FISA courts are all about. And I mean, you talk about in most cases, if it's state, local, or probably even federal, without that, I mean, they have to have the proof, so they're held to a standard. But with this, from what I'm reading, is they're not held to a standard. They could just say, "Hey, BSN's doing this, or whoever's doing this, we need a warrant for that." Okay, no problemo.
that's
So
scary. That's
that's
scary.
very scary, very
Yeah.
scary.
You talking about
Absolutely.
just weaponizing the I
Yeah,
guess the Department of Justice or whatever, which is
yeah,
basically what they were doing against Trump. But
yeah.
I seen this asshole that refuses to leave, this Mitch McConnell. He's basically sent a message. to Trump, saying that there will be no recess appointments. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like he just refuses to get the fuck out of Trump's way and let him do what he wants to do.
isn't
And I
that
don't
something,
know
man?
why. This man's like so past his fucking time. Like, go, disappear. You know?
Absolutely, yeah,
I just don't
yeah.
get what he has to gain by being a thorn in the side of Trump anymore. Like, I mean, it's
You
I don't
know,
understand it.
sometimes I think it's about what they have done in the 40, 50 years they've been up there, and I think they worry, man, and back of their head, I believe everybody's touchable. They probably think for all of these years, like the Joe Bidens and Mitch McConnell, which I think he's on about the same path as Joe Biden when it comes to memory.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think they think they become untouchable, and I think a lot of them are worried, man. I really do, and they should be, and I hope they
Well,
are. You
that's
know,
kind of my thing. Like, with like a Mitch McConnell, like, how much time do you think you have left that you need to be worried about anything like that? Like, just go on, move
absolutely,
on. But
yeah,
he just refuses, man. It's like they get stuck, they dig their heels in, and that's it. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
There's no reason for Mitch McConnell to still be around. I mean,
No,
go. You know
doesn't
what
he
I
leave
mean?
on the? Is it the 20th or something like that? He leaves in November, I think. I think he's
Yeah,
out
but
of.
from what
Yeah.
I was reading, he wasn't just getting totally out of, the
Oh,
political spectrum. You know what I mean? And it's
right,
like, the man ain't going nowhere. But it's like he's already, making statements like there's going to be no appointments. If the government's on
right.
recess, and it's like that's just bullshit. Like you shouldn't control any of that anymore. You need to go. You know what I
Yes,
mean? And just
absolutely.
I guess it's power hungry, or like you said, maybe concern. Some of these
Yeah.
people still think, well, it's a little too early for me to leave and let them start digging up shit. I don't know. Or
Uh,
maybe he just believes Trump is horrible for the country. I doubt that's the case. I doubt he
yeah.
really genuinely believes that, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess, and say maybe that's the case, but I don't know.
And even in those positions, Shane, I mean, the people spoke. It ain't Trump didn't
Th-
speak. The
Thank
people,
you.
the people spoke in this country overwhelmingly, not only popular
Yes.
vote, but electoral vote. And,
Yeah.
we turned the Senate, we have with the House, and like we talk all the time, man, look at the map. There are no true blue states. I mean, there's fragments of blue, and inner cities are voting some of these states blue, but for the most part, yeah, it's just we're I'm not saying everybody's conservative, but yeah, I mean it's red. A lot of
Well,
red.
and you said it too, man. It's like the people spoke. So whoever Trump's trying to put up there, these politicians need to just step to the side and let the shit get done. You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
we voted him in,
Right.
which means we take whatever comes with Trump. That's what we voted for. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. I
Now, I
agree
mean,
with you.
I think they're all operating in their best interest, of course, but it's just fucked up how they can do that. It's like, what's the point of
Yeah.
electing the president when all they're going to do is go out of their way to stop anything he's trying to do from day one? I mean, what is the
Yes.
point? And I'm
All right.
not saying he needs to be a king, but it's like sometimes you just need to get the fuck out of their way and let them do the job that the people elected them to do. No
Right.
matter what side, if the person's elected and they're put into office, let them do what they need to do, you
Couldn't
know?
agree more with you.
Yeah, it
Couldn't agree
sounds
more.
simple, but it doesn't
Yes.
work like that.
Yeah. But man, if the shoes were on the other foot and this was Democrats they talking about, they'd be well, Mitch McConnell and that's what he would probably be out the way and let them do whatever they want to do. We might bitch, but yeah, it
Yeah.
just it's all
Well,
about Trump. They hate him, man. They hate him. He's
well,
just a normal guy. So
Mama
and
Bear
they hate
thinks he
us.
might.
That's the problem too, Shane, is they hate us.
Well,
These
yeah,
politicians. They can't stand us. So
yeah. Mama Bear seems to think he may be on the Epstein list, so he's in panic mode.
you never know.
I
I'd
wonder
love
if
to
they'll.
see it. I really
I
would
wonder
love
if
to
they'll
see it.
release any of that. I wonder if Trump will be able to get his hands on that shit and actually have it released. Man,
You
that
would
would be
think.
interesting. You
Yeah,
know.
maybe with some of these appointments that are going to head up some of these departments, maybe.
Yeah,
But
that's another thing. Just makes you wonder how the amount of power the president actually has, because he may not even be able to get his hands on that list,
he
because
might not be able to,
they,
man. Yeah,
honestly, between that and the well, I don't want to say the Diddy list, because that's more of a that's not really government thing. That's more of an
right.
entertainment list, I think. So really, just the Epstein, because there's going to have some high profile political people on
Yep.
there, and some way they're going to be above Trump. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they're not going to let him get that list. You watch. There's no way they're going to allow him to just here you go ahead and put it
Here you
out in the
go. It's
open. You know
open
what
to
I
the
mean? I
public,
just
no
can't.
redaction or nothing like that.
No, can't.
You
Same
know.
thing. Yeah, with the JFK files. I mean, the
Right.
same shit. I mean, there's people that are more powerful than the president. And they got a hold of all this shit, and they're not letting go of it.
No.
I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds great for us to sit around and hope for it, but I just
Right.
don't. I think it goes so much deeper than the president as far as the power. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and it's Shane, it's the Epstein list is one thing, and I
right.
get it, but you know what really needs to be released is Hunter Biden's laptop
That's true.
and all of Joe Biden's bullshit with the
Yeah,
38 shell companies and the bribery that has probably went on and yeah, I just and I don't know if that'll
well,
happen. I don't know
no,
if
but I
that'll
was gonna
happen.
say you're right because it's really not much to do with Hunter Biden. That's not what
Right,
we're after here. You
right.
know, I'm with you. We want to see what else was going on with these corrupt politicians and all the backdoor payments that were happening with the
Oh,
Biden,
dude.
regime. I guess you would
Tens,
call it.
probably hundreds of millions, brother.
Yeah,
You
of
just
wasted
never know.
taxpayer money. Probably
Yeah.
most of it was where that Pentagon money's going.
Yeah,
Because that shit's going to somewhere.
Afghanistan money. I mean,
Right,
Ukraine. I'm sorry, not Afghanistan. Yeah,
Ukraine. Yep.
Ukraine money. Yeah, there's no telling, man.
Yeah. Mm.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, man. It really will. We got 4 years to deal with this, and hopefully within the next two, he can get a lot done. So
Yeah, I think he will. I just think, they're going to be at him every time he turns a corner. But I think he's ready. He's prepared for it.
and
He
that's
knows.
good though. Listen to me. I say it's good and it's bad. The good point is that man, when you've got all of these rhinos and all of these liberals out here or Democrats bitching about who they're appointing, you're doing something right.
That's very true. Yeah,
Don't you think? I mean, yeah,
if
you're
they're
doing something right. So
if
uh,
they're screaming, I want them. You know what I mean?
yes,
It's
exactly.
and the
So he's
crazy part is you got Tulsi Gabbard, you've
yep,
got RFK,
yep,
you've got Trump himself, and then
yep,
you've got there's another one mixed in there that were all Democrats.
yeah,
They were all Democrats until they saw how crazy the fucking I guess the left was getting. And it's just
go
funny to
right,
see the amount of Democrats former Democrats that he has
right,
around him. That
and that's
that
something.
right there should be an eye opening to the Democratic
Yeah.
Party.
And I think it is in a way. I think there's some of them that are coming out saying if it's Bill Maher or if it's some of these other
Yeah.
talking heads that look, we have to like regroup, man, because this isn't working. This
Well,
isn't
and
working.
you see it from the entertainers and maybe some political analysts, but do you actually see it coming from anybody that has any control over the Democratic Party is the problem.
No,
You
not at
know,
all, dude. Really,
the
not at
only
all,
one I
man.
see saying anything, and they kind of blow him off, is that Fetterman. It's not like
Yes.
he has any control over the
No.
Democratic Party, but
Yeah.
he's one of the few that'll come out and say, "Look, man, y'all got to calm down.
Yep.
You got to calm
Exactly.
down. I mean, not everything's the world's gonna burn because of Trump. And
Yeah.
that's basically what he's come out and said. But like I said, he doesn't have no pull over the Democratic Party, so it's really these ones that are the higher ups, the Pelosi's and the Schumers and all. It's like, are they ever going to change their way of thinking?
I don't think so. No, I think they got
Yeah.
so much baggage, man. Like I said, if it's on your local level or if it's on your federal level, or let's say local, state, and federal, without term limits, and we see it here in our little town, man, with no term limits on the sheriff or some of these politicians. But when you get into that position in the federal of your House and your Senate with no term limits, man, it breeds corruption, dude.
It does.
Breeds it, and like
Yeah.
I said earlier, I think they think they become untouchable, you know.
I'm just curious though if any of them, like, if there's any conversations going on behind closed doors saying, "Hey, look, we need to start maybe catering to a little different base because what we're doing is
Absolutely,
not working." You know what I
absolutely.
mean? I
Yeah.
believe you may start seeing that on some of the smaller elections, maybe some
Yes.
local stuff or some state stuff, but I don't know if the big dogs in the government are going to look at it like that.
No, I don't believe
You
it. I
know.
believe they already are bought, paid for, if it's through Soros or a bunch of these left-wing
Yeah.
groups. So their ideology is they have to kind of go that route. But like you said earlier, on local levels, yeah, I mean, if they start bringing back some manufacturing and creating jobs, and as the party of the blue blood Democrats of the past, they were for the working man. And I think that has pretty much 180 shifted today to the Republican Party that, hey, we are for the working man. We do believe in lower taxes and creating jobs and not sending every freaking thing that we have overseas.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. The Democrats have totally forgot about the working class in the
Absolutely.
country, and I'm just curious to see if they start getting back to even if it's not legit, but just pandering at least to the middle
Yes.
class to try to get those votes because it seems like lately they haven't gave a fuck. They didn't even try to act like they
No.
cared,
No.
you know? Because
And you know
I
what the
mean I don't.
biggest sign was on that? You know what the biggest sign, and I think it really hurt the Democrat Party this year, well, over the last 4 years, was illegal immigration.
Yeah,
When you started
yeah,
dumping tens of thousands into inner city neighborhoods and putting them up in the finest hotels, giving them all this money, yeah, I think that hurt them in a way to and basically what they were saying is, fuck our constituents that are here now.
sure,
We're
yeah.
going with this, so
Yeah, well, they supposed to be cracking down on that shit pretty hard, man.
I'm
On
in.
that
I'm in. Yeah, I'm in.
he
Yeah,
said,
look,
"I'm in."
and I don't have a problem with immigration. I really don't because it is. We're a melting pot, But dude, come through the front door.
Well, from what I was reading, it said Trump's team is reportedly exploring the possibility of deporting illegal aliens to places like Rwanda and other countries to prevent them from remaining on American soil. So
Right.
they're looking for places to really just start shipping these people off to. And I don't
Wow.
know. Yeah, and like I said, I don't know
Wow.
how correct that would be. I mean, I think you just send them back to where they came from. But problem
Yeah,
is, you send them right back over that border, and then they're right back over
it's
here.
true. It is
Unless you
true.
let the border agents do their job, which I think Trump will. But
Yes. And I think
it's it.
I think he's got a good guy that's uh,
Mm,
take that position. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah.
Old
They
Tom, I
scared
think
of him.
I think Tom's gonna do a good job at it.
Yeah, the left don't like him. They think he's too cruel, with the way that
Yes.
he comes off with basically just fuck him, let him,
Yeah.
round him up and send him home, and
Yeah, and of course
but
they use kids as pawns, man, when it comes to that. Well, what about
yeah,
family separation and all of that? And it's like,
yeah,
and he made a good point with that. If I arrest somebody on the streets for DUI and they got their kid in the car, they're being separated,
yeah.
So I'm
Well,
separating them.
yeah, it's shitty on those parents to put the kids in that position. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, because it's not the children's fault for sure.
Nope. No,
When you
I
start
agree.
talking about these anchor babies, but it's like, what do you do, man? I mean, you got to draw a line somewhere. We can
Yes.
only take in so many people that are sucking off the system. You
Yes.
know, and one side looks at that as cruel, and the other side looks as it's a necessity to control it. I mean, it's a very touchy subject
It
because
is.
it does start to get into morals and just human compassion. Because
Right.
I do see we say it all the time, and we've said it before on here that I do see why these people come.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
get
Yeah.
it, but there just has to be a way to at least vet them,
Yes.
and make them to where they're productive members of society and paying in the taxes just like I'm forced to do. So there
Right.
are ways to do it properly, which I'm
Yes.
all for, but
It's got to be done properly because we can sit back and look at it, and this mouthpiece media that we have, they don't really discuss it too much, man. What about probably the 100,000 kids that have been kidnapped, trafficked, that are missing, exploited? So that's kind of the downturn of it. Yeah, I have no problem with them coming here legally. Assimilate, learn the
yeah,
language, learn the rules, pay your taxes, go to work, don't mooch off the system. I'm in. I'm all for it,
that's it.
you know? Yeah,
Yeah, we can all be friends. So,
absolutely.
let's see.
So
Trying to see. They're still talking about Mitch McConnell. They don't like the fact that he's not letting if they go on recess, Trump can't start appointing people. They're not liking that shit, which is not right at all.
it's not. No,
No.
it's not. Well, Mike Johnson was talking this morning about how they're going to try to pass another temporary spending bill, and it's like, here we go. And I know he's from here, but man, I don't know how much I really trust him. Is he really entrenched that much into the political game? But me, dude, we've been kicking this can probably for 20 years down the road. We'll just deal with it in
Yeah,
6 months. We'll
we'll
deal
just
with it in
keep.
6 months, and
Yeah,
when does it end?
it doesn't,
So,
man.
but
I
look,
don't know.
maybe that's a little tool for Trump, man. Maybe he can, maybe that's something he can hold over their heads. No, I want this, and if you're not going to give me this, then I'm just not going to do that. So
Yeah. Mm, mm, mm,
you know.
mm.
But Mama Bear,
Well,
what you saying about Joe Rogan? He ought to be in the cabinet. He ain't taking a pay cut. I can promise you that. So
no, that's what
no.
I was seeing. Somebody said he was paid off to support Trump, and
Oh,
I'm like,
of
get the
course.
fuck out
Yeah,
of here!
of
Like,
course.
come on now, man. If you've
Yeah.
paid attention to Joe Rogan at all, it's like for
Yes.
one, it's like I'm gonna say what I feel like saying when I feel like saying it. If I don't believe
And
something,
how
I'm
I
not
wanna
gonna
say it.
say it. And I
Right.
believe he's honest when he says that because he
Right.
has no reason not to be. It's like how much money could they have paid Joe Rogan to come out?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Biggest
it's
podcast
foolish.
in the world, and, yeah,
They
exactly.
just can't accept the fact that people started seeing the light a little bit and saying, "Damn, the people I was looking, up to or whatever aren't who I thought they were." Matter of fact, he just came out and finally realized that Obama was just as bad as the rest of these lying fucks on that side because he
Yeah.
always praised Obama. He said he
Right.
thought he was one of the best presidents we ever had when it came to basically the presentation of a president to other
Yes.
countries. And, he thought he was always honest. Well, then he said when he watched him come out and talk against Trump on this last go round and saying blatant fucking lies that Rogan knows now for sure were
Right.
lies. Well, now all of a sudden he's starting to say, well, I have a different opinion on Obama. And everybody was trying to tell him, but it's like uh, you don't have to pay somebody to say that and to realize that they're just they're fucking blatant liars, man. Everybody
Every
on
last
that
one of them.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, it all boils down, they really could give two shits. All they want every 4 years is they want their votes, both Republicans and Democrats. But we spoke, man. The country spoke because we need change, and I think Trump is, if there's anybody out there, he's the one that can possibly deliver the change that we're looking for.
I wonder who he's press secretary. I wonder if he's gonna go
Dude, her name is she's a young girl, 28, man. She just had a
okay.
baby. Is it Carol maybe or something? I'd have to look it up, but yeah, yeah,
So he
she's
has
gonna,
picked one. See, I missed that news myself. I didn't even know
yeah,
he
yeah,
chose one. Yeah, she said it. Caroline.
Caroline Levitt, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
So I think he's got it, putting together a great team, man, all the way around. Old Pete with Department of Defense, and of course the left's out there. Well, he's not even a general. Screw
give
you
a
and your general,
shit what he
man.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, he did that right the first 4 years he was in office, and they shit
Yeah.
on him. So, yeah, he's got a
I'm
lot of
just
ordinary people.
I'm just glad to get that dude that dresses up as a woman from the health, the health expert. I'm just glad to get that
And
thing
dude,
off
the
the
shit
screen.
behind that. The shit behind that. Here you got a 70-year-old man that could outlift you and me probably three
Oh
times,
yeah.
with pull-ups and all that other crap. And then they got
Yeah.
this thing. I don't even know what to call it, but I don't watch my pronouns, but
You gotta watch your pronoun
yeah,
talk, huh?
absolutely. When you're
Oh
talking
man.
about them. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting, of course, man, and I think it's going to be something to watch over the next couple of years for sure.
It's gonna be exciting, Brad. It's coming.
Oh, it's
It's
coming. Oh yeah,
coming.
yeah.
Can't wait. They
And
still
look,
have to.
the hyperbole, and I hope a lot of what they say comes true with cutting taxes and cutting capital gains and uh, clean up the stock market. Make it and bring factories back. I'm all for the tariffs, man. I really
Yeah.
am. If you're bringing stuff from in the country, it's nothing new. I mean, they talk like this has never happened before. This goes all the way back to Hamilton being president. He loved tariffs, but if you look at it on the aspect of, they did it to Japan with Toyota. And what did Toyota turn around and do? They started building factories in the United States to build their pickup trucks. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm all for it. So it's just going to make companies like Dodge and Chevrolet and Ford and all these other Intel and all these microprocessing companies, dude, they're going to come back to the
Yeah.
United States.
Yeah.
If
Get that
not,
shit.
you're going to face a tariff.
Get your shit right, or it's gonna cost you. That's basically what it
Absolutely.
is.
Yeah.
I was we talked about RFK a minute ago. Did you see the New York Times article that they put out trying to discredit what he was saying about these foods? It was
Yes.
such a joke. Did you see
Yes.
that?
I saw
Well, the
some
people
snippets of it, man. Yeah.
well, for the people that didn't, the New York Times, they said he came out and he was talking about Fruit Loops, using it as an
Right.
example of the bullshit that they put in it,
Right.
and into the foods. Well, the New York Times decides they're going to call him out on that and say, Mr. Kennedy has singled out Fruit Loops as an example of a product with too many artificial ingredients, questioning why the Canadian version has fewer than the US version as far as
Yes.
ingredients. But he was wrong, they said. The
Oh.
ingredient list is roughly the same, although Canada has natural colorings made from blueberries and carrots, while the US contains red dye 40, yellow 5, and blue 1, as well as butylated hydro, some shit I can't pronounce, and BHT, a lab made chemical that is used for freshness. Now, this isn't somebody fact checking the New York Times. This is what they
Right.
actually wrote. So they sit there and tell you that he's full of shit. They don't have that, there's no difference in the Canadian and American version except for this, but
Of
and I'm
course.
thinking, well, that's a big fucking difference.
Absolutely.
But it's like, what a way to
Absolutely.
think you're owning somebody, basically. Like you're gonna show him, it's like it's just so blatant. I mean, they use natural fucking colorings from
Yes.
fruit, and
Yes.
they're trying to basically say, well, that's not much difference. The only difference is that the US uses red dye 40, yellow 5, blue 1, as well as butylated hydrotoluene and BHT. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what? Instead of them
How
just
you like
saying,
that?
hey, the shit we're eating, it's garbage. So if we've got somebody up there that can try to make it a little better for us, why not just go along with that? You know what I mean? It just
Absolutely.
shows you how the how partisan everything is because we can't even agree on that. We
No.
can't even agree that we don't need to be putting this bullshit into our bodies, especially our children's bodies when you start talking about Fruit Loops and shit.
Yeah,
You
and
know what
it's
I
not
mean?
just Canada, it's Europe, man. Most of Europe
It's
is the same
yeah,
way. I mean,
we're the
compare Doritos
worst.
here and Doritos over there, and I guarantee you it's
Yes.
two different things. All the way down to your alcohol, probably that we consume in the States. Compare it to the Germans with the Germany purity laws and that they have. Yeah, I mean, dude, I mean, the obesity rate, health rate, heart attacks, diabetes. God, you can go on and on. And I think that's what he wants to try to battle. I don't think he's
Well,
trying to take too much away from you as far as vaccines and, but I think he wants to hold these big pharma accountable. You know,
well, in the way I see it, with the food stuff, like wasn't there like a one of these states or something where they weren't allowing you to buy these big sodas anymore or
New
something a
York.
while back? Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, to me, that's not the answer because even RFK going in there and banning a lot of foods that are unhealthy,
right,
it's not really the and to me, it's about educate the masses and give them a cheaper option for healthier food.
right.
Now, there probably are some ingredients that need to be outlawed, but as far as telling somebody you can't eat this because it's full of sugar, I don't think
It-
he needs to go that far.
no,
You know what I mean? I'm
I'm
not saying that's what his plan is, but as far as this, you can't get a Coke this big. Well, all you should do is like cigarettes. There's a
right.
warning on the fucking box. Not saying
Exactly.
you can't buy the motherfuckers all you want, but
Yeah,
it can cause cancer. You know what I mean? And I
exactly
think
right.
that's how the foods should be. Everything should be labeled. This shit has some dangerous shit in it. If you want to consume it, have fun, but we have this healthier option. But the
Yes,
problem is you have to make that option affordable. You know what I
yes,
mean? I think
yes.
everybody would choose that option if it was affordable. And
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
not. For the
And we've
average
talked
family, it's
about
not.
that. You try to eat healthy and see what it costs.
Fuck, I went last night. I ate sushi, and sushi's healthy. I mean, you see the
Yes.
people in Japan.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no there's no obesity problem. They live
No,
to
no.
100 years old, but it's fucking expensive.
Oh,
You
it's
know what I
not cheap.
mean?
Not
And
cheap, man.
it's just fucking rice and chicken and fucking whatever else they're wrapping up in these damn sushi rolls. But
Yeah,
it is a healthy food. You know what I mean?
absolutely, brother. Yeah, you go in and you start trying to buy organic. And sometimes
Mhm.
I have my disbelief in that too,
What's that?
when organic food, just because it's stamped organic, is it really organic,
Yeah, I
So,
forget because I'd butchered if I tried to explain it, but there was somebody on Rogan's podcast a while back that was explaining how they get away with calling stuff that when it's
right,
not what we think of as organic.
organic,
There
right.
are ways around it's wordplay, and
Yes,
I forget how I wish I could remember, but they play with that too. In other words, they're
sure.
able to legally get around it somehow where they get to slap that label on it, and there ain't nothing really organic about the shit. You know what I mean?
None at all. Yeah.
It's crazy. Well,
It is
I
nuts,
think
man.
that's why I'm hoping if RFK, if he gets in there, and it starts, being able to really do things. I just hope it's a big educational process, and it would be nice to see the people on the other side at least get on board with that. I mean, let's make the
Yeah,
nation more healthy. Why argue with that? You know what I
yeah,
mean? You can
absolutely.
look around and see there's a fucking problem in the country. The
You think?
obesity rate is fucking crazy. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
It's
It's crazy.
horrible.
And all that does is lead to major health issues. And I
Right.
don't understand why either side would be opposed to fixing that.
Yes.
But they will be. They're going to
Oh, yeah.
fight Trump and RFK all the way to the end. You know what I
Yes,
mean? And I
I
already
agree with
see
you.
it with the New York Times putting out bullshit trying to say, well, there's not really a difference. And then they list the difference. It's like, well, which
Yes,
one is it? You know what I mean?
I agree
Make
with
your
you.
mind up. It's
Yeah, all
crazy.
this fortified crap and all it is, like you just hit on red dye 40 and blue 1 and yellow 30 or whatever it is, and
Yeah.
God,
It's
polysorbates and whatever the hell all that stuff
and,
is,
and
but
we've been absorbing that shit for fucking decades, like, meaning
oh yeah,
you and I and people that
absolutely.
are in our
Yeah.
age group. It's terrible. We came up on that shit.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I
dude.
mean?
We really
It's like
did.
how much damage has that done, like that we're gonna see later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Like it
100%, and I mean, you look at the diabetic rates and I try to stay healthy. I'm sure you do too, but I mean, shit, we like to eat, So,
yeah.
and it's in
Well, yeah.
everything. It's disgusting. So, and I
It's
mean, the
funny
man just wants
how
to make change. That's all.
yeah.
Just a little bit of change.
Well, and it's funny how, like, I'm gonna go ahead and say the system, but the system does it. It's like it's a
Mhm.
never-ending cycle. It's like they poison you your entire life, but then they give you the medication to keep you going as when you get older because of all this bullshit they done put into your body over the years.
Yes,
They keep you alive, but now you're a customer to the pharmaceutical companies, your entire
absolutely.
the rest of your adult life. It's crazy how that kind of all goes together, you know what I
It's
mean?
a
These
vicious
food
cycle, brother.
it is, man. These
Yeah,
food companies give us all these fucking health issues, and then the pharmaceutical companies, they swoop in to say, "Well, guess what? We got a pill for that." You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
almost like it's fucking coordinated.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
And sometimes I think a lot of it, if I get on the conspiracy side of my mind, it's like I think it's all too, man, about population control. And the healthier we are, the longer we live. Uh, and I believe it in my heart, man. When you get to that retirement age, you're no good to the government anymore.
No,
And so we got to keep paying you to live. Take it how you
yeah,
want. But yeah,
well, like you said, a lot of conspiracy theories are starting to not just be conspiracy theories. Is the
right.
thing.
Exactly.
Um,
Absolutely,
but
100%.
I was looking. It was an interesting read. I was reading about the basically the birth of the healthcare system as we know it today. You know what I
Yes,
mean? As far as all these pharmaceuticals and the way that it's all for profit. It's profit motivated is all it is. And
sure.
it was the fellow by John Rockefeller is the one who started this shit
Yes,
back in the day. Now he basically what he did, he found he was like, I don't know, he was a businessman, and they said he
right.
found himself with an excess of petrochemical byproduct in whatever
Yeah.
business he was in. Well, the solution was to turn those waste products into the basically a new industry is what they use in pharmaceutical drugs. So he waged a war on natural medication. You know what I mean? He
Right.
hired people to go around and basically discredit doctors that were still using natural remedies. So he paid big money to basically make the entire nation frown upon that and believe the only way to really get it done is through the medicines that we're creating. You know what I mean? And it's a
It's true.
sick game, and that's kind of how it all started back in the day. And then he just basically took over, the I guess the medical system, you could say, when it comes to all this pharmaceutical shit. And from there, over generations, they just all jumped on board. All these Pfizer's and these what's them assholes that were putting out the OxyContin, the
Right,
fucking
exactly. Pfizer.
whatever the yeah
Yeah.
whatever the fuck they're
Moderna probably had
yeah
something to do with some of them, but
all of them. But
yeah.
but yeah, it was just funny because it was all basically to demonize natural ways of healing, and they
Yes.
do that now. Like you
Absolutely.
go to the doctor, the first thing they do is write you a pill. We've talked about that
Yeah.
before. It's
Isn't
there's
that the
no
truth?
natural way to let you,
Right.
regulate your body according to most of these doctors, and it's terrible, man.
It is
It's
horrible,
sick.
man. Yeah. And it's just
It's
like you said, it's all about the money game, and I am not a Western medicine guy. I take, one pill in my for what I need for GERD. But yeah, I mean, but I've had my doc. Oh, your blood pressure's a little high. Oh, your cholesterol's a little high, and it's like, nah, man, give me a chance, man.
yeah, let me
I'm
change my
active. Give me a
fucking
chance. Let's
diet.
try in 6 months. If it's still there, then maybe I'll have to revisit that. But
Uh,
um, yeah, it just is, and hopefully he can turn it around, man. I really think he can if he's allowed to. So,
Well,
but
and the funny thing is, that's actually one of my biggest interests, honestly, is the RFK with this health shit. For some reason,
sure,
I gravitated towards that, because Yeah, I guess the older you get, the more you start thinking about that, and then
Absolutely.
you start seeing how a lot of this shit it's not on accident, you know what I mean? They're not
No.
accidentally poisoning us,
Right.
and I'm not saying I'm not gonna sit there and say it's all with malice intent. It's just a lot of it's to do with money, profit. They're trying to make their food last longer. They don't want it to
Right.
go bad on the shelf in a week. So you have
Right.
to put shit in it. Then they want it to look appealing. So you start
Yes.
throwing all these fucking dyes in there, which a
Right.
lot of those dyes are byproducts for some other bullshit that was never meant for food. You know
Right.
what I mean? So then they just start putting that in your food because it's the cheapest option.
Right.
So I think it's all profit driven more than really trying to hurt people. But
It
the
is.
end result is it fucking hurts people. And somebody needs to get a fucking hold of it. And once I started looking at it like that, I really started to think, man, something has to change. So then
Yes.
when RFK came out and started speaking on it, it was like, okay, well, let me hear what he's got to say. And I mean, he's been to court hundreds of times fighting these things, whether
Yes.
it be with the
Absolutely.
environment or with the pharmaceutical and winning cases. It's not like he's
Yep.
just going in there and presenting a bunch of bullshit like the My Pillow guy tried to do about the election or whatever. I mean,
Right.
he's going in there throwing facts out and
Facts out
winning
there.
cases. So that lets you know he was on to something. So it made
Absolutely.
me start really paying attention to him and getting kind of disgusted as I'm doing it because you start really seeing what's going on, when you pull the curtain back on these big industries, and it's sick, man, because it's all at our expense, you
It
know?
is.
It's
It is.
terrible.
And some of it's probably the people like ourselves that we want it when we want it. And if it's a loaf of bread
Sure.
or if it's an apple or a pear or, there's no more seasons on anything, if you know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. So, oh, you want apples? Sure. We'll just wax coat them with whatever the
Yeah, it's
shit
not,
they're
you're
coating them
right.
in. And you
There's
can
no
have
apple
apples
season.
and cucumbers year round. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
So, and
Yeah,
if it's, if it's shrimp or if it's fish or if it's this or, whatever it might be, grapes and, because I can remember being a kid, and it's like I used to love pomegranates, man, but you didn't get them whenever you wanted. It was like a
yeah.
summertime gig, you know what I'm saying? And that you just kind of dealt with it. But
I,
now, eh,
That's what I was gonna say. It was like back in the day when you were harvesting your shit. There were certain times of year that certain things grew, and that's when you got it.
absolutely,
Now, I mean,
absolutely,
you're right. You can walk into the fucking local Walmart or wherever and
yeah,
grab any vegetable, any fruit you
yeah,
want. Shit's already been sitting in a truck in a warehouse somewhere for no telling how long. Then it's
right,
on the shelf at Walmart for no telling how long. Then it
right,
sits at your fucking house for a couple weeks, and it's
right,
still good. I mean,
absolutely.
that can't be good.
Yeah, and I told you that story, man, about how my wife likes to bake bread, it's her thing. But man, she'll make a loaf. Dude, you might get 3 days out of it, dude. And then it'll
Yeah,
start growing mold. So here you go buy you a loaf of Sunbeam, Bunny, whatever. I'm not discriminating on anybody or talking
no,
bad
I know
about
what you
any
mean.
company out there,
Yeah.
but I mean, you put a loaf of Bunny bread in your cabinet, and here we are 3 weeks or a month later. It looks as fresh as it just came out when you just bought it. So it
And look,
tells you what it is.
and as a consumer, you're thinking, oh, that's cool, because you don't want to throw food away, but you don't
Exactly.
realize what's causing it to do that
Yes.
because there's no food that I'm not gonna say no food, but most foods don't naturally stay fresh
Last.
for a couple fucking
Exactly.
weeks. It
Right.
just don't happen like that. So, but at the same time, like people start weighing the option of, well, now I got to buy more of it, and then they don't want to do that. So,
Yes.
I mean, pick your poison, so to say.
Yeah. And it's all with beef. And I read something that was interesting too. And I just saw a snippet of it come across my feed. Um, pork. Pork now, they are treating pork with mRNAs. So I'm
Oh
like,
Jesus.
well, I ain't eating no more pork. But like more than was it 3/4 of our beef is all imported. If it's Australia, Mexico's big on beef. And you see what they do with these chickens, man. I mean, you go buy a 5 pound chicken from hatch to store it's a month or whatever the
I was gonna
time frame
say,
is.
yeah,
Yeah, so what they're
it
putting in this stuff, man, what are they putting in it? The
yeah.
steroids and it's
Well,
just and we're probably the ones to blame, most of us, because we want it when we want it.
we want, and I have no doubt that the allergies and the shit that you
Yeah,
see nowadays has
yeah,
to do with that. You know what I
yeah.
mean? The
You
shit
never
that
heard
we're
of gluten
consuming.
allergies, you know what I'm saying?
Peanut
Never heard of
allergies went
gluten
off the fucking
allergies.
charts. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? And and
absolutely.
and and the doctors will advise you now to not give your child peanut butter to make sure they're not allergic. Where if you listen to anybody that has any fucking sense, they'll say that is the total opposite thing of what you need to be doing. You need to
Absolutely.
let your child build the
An
immune
immunity.
system up to that.
Yes.
So yeah, you don't want to just, because when their body hasn't seen it, and then all of a sudden at 6 years old, you start giving them fucking peanuts. It's like that's just not how the human body works. But
No.
they will tell you that, or give you some fucking shot for it, I guess. I don't know. But
Yeah.
but like I said, the allergies have gone off the fucking charts. The autism has gone off the fucking charts, and
It's another
everything
one.
correlates with,
Yes.
when they started just, basically forcing us with these vaccinations that you give these children. And I'm not saying all vaccines are bad. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but goddamn, if you look at the amount a person has from the time they're born to the time they're fucking 18, it's off the fucking charts. It's like
It
nobody
is.
needs that much shit injected in their body. It's
It
fucking
is.
ridiculous.
Yeah. And I even look at it too, man, when you hit on something with vaccines, and if it's polio, measles, mumps, we eradicated that a long time ago. And you still would get it as a child. But and here's the downfall of all this illegal immigration: unvetted people coming into this country, tuberculosis,
Yeah,
polio, measles. You don't know what these people are bringing over.
yeah.
So it's kind of like this double-edged sword all the way around, man, with this crap. You know,
And it's funny because you brought up the polio. That's another thing I learned listening to, somebody on Rogan's podcast. I don't know if it
right?
was a doctor or scientist, or something, but he was going back and they were talking about the polio, and they said by the time that fucking vaccine came out,
Yeah,
polio was almost done.
it was
Like
almost
herd
done.
immunity had kicked in already.
Right?
So it was like
Exactly.
from even way back then, it's always been a push this for money. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
crazy how far that goes back because there was no
Yeah.
reason to sit there and inject everybody with that vaccine because they said a lot of the polio cases after that were caused by the fucking vaccine that they were
Yeah.
putting in people.
Isn't that
You know,
something?
and I'm a doctor, so I know this for fact.
Right.
No, no, don't
That's
nobody listen to my medical advice, but that's just the shit that I heard. And,
yeah.
and it's a reputable guy. It wasn't like some fucking quack that was up there. I mean, and they pull up charts and they show you that
Sure.
the polio was down. That shit had
Right.
pretty much plummeted, and then all of a sudden they
Right.
come out with a vaccine, and it's like
Yeah.
for what? Like why didn't they just let the herd immunity keep happening? Which
It
I
is
know
amazing
why. I
how
mean,
strong the body is and how it's
fucking
developed and
right.
how
It's
you cut
resilient.
yourself and it heals, man. Look, yeah, there's
That's
always a chance
that's
for infection, but what a lot of
but
those vaccines too, I don't hear talked about is Guillain-Barré, and that's just due to the probably like the metals that are in these vaccines,
yeah,
which is a
yeah,
nervous system disorder. Um, it's just crazy. It almost like like I said, I'm not having any more kids in my life, but if I did, I would
sure.
be very skeptical about
Well,
vaccinations,
and that's a shame because we, at least my age group, I was in it when they first started kind of doing
Yes,
that. You know what I mean?
yes,
And then when my kids were born, well, I didn't research enough of that. I just trusted the medical professionals. So therefore, we were injecting our children with that bullshit that
sure,
was probably in excess. You know what I mean?
yes.
Now, if I, like I said, I'm done having kids, but if I were now, I don't know if they'd be even able to go to public school because you got to have
Right.
all these
You gotta
vaccines and
have
all these
all the
shots and
inoculations. Yes,
they
exactly
force
right.
it on you basically, and it's a
Yes.
fucking shame because I don't think you need half of them. It's
No,
disgusting.
I agree.
But
Same thing with this,
anyway,
like even with the flu vaccine or the
yeah,
pneumonia vaccine. And look, I guess if you're up in age and you kind of risk to that, maybe. I don't know.
yeah.
I just know when I get to be that age, I might just roll the dice, dude, because I'm just not for it. I just don't really
Fuck.
care for the whole Western medicine kind of thing.
Everybody I talk to, they take a flu shot and then they get sick as a fucking dog.
And then they sick for 2 weeks, and then they'll tell you, "Oh, well, that's the other strain. We gave you the B
Yeah,
strain,
yeah,
but the A
yeah.
strain's back this year." It's like, oh, okay,
It
great.
did. They did claim that it's just a guess when they make these
Yes,
vaccines that they come out with every year for the
right.
flu. They're just trying to guess what strain it's going to be
It's
for.
gonna be
So it's like let's
exactly.
just roll the dice, shoot you up
Yes,
with it and hope it helps. It's so
yes.
stupid, man.
It is. It's nuts.
But
It's nuts.
people trust their doctors, man. I used to. So I mean, I never
Yeah,
took that shit, but you grow up respecting doctors. You think they're
sure.
all knowing because they're doctors, and then you
Yeah.
come to find out they're just paid fucking shills, man. They're fucking, they're paid off by the pharmaceutical companies, especially back in the day when I was trusting them because the pharmaceutical companies used to be able to wine and dine them and buy them gifts and pay them off, where they
Oh
kind of
yeah.
stopped a lot of that
Yeah.
now, but they still
Yes.
find ways to do it. But
Yes.
they'd be like, "Oh, here, look, here's a new car. Why
Yeah.
don't you go?" And then, of course, they're going to push that fucking pill. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's how the OxyContin shit got so fucking big, man. They were taking care of these doctors, and then every doctor in the world was making a killing off of these fucking pills. So
And it's
there you
something.
go, script after
And how many
script after
lives were
script.
destroyed? You know
A
what I'm
lot,
saying?
man,
Yeah.
and a lot of them doctors started to know that it wasn't good, but they didn't give a fuck, man. It was just
Right.
greed, and
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some, like, in the beginning, they were just going by what they were told, that,
Yes.
they was presented to them like it was a miracle drug for pain, and it's like, "Well,
Right.
cool, I can take care of my patients," but some of them caught on that shit was addictive, and they kept fucking writing them scripts, man, because 'cause they're dirty motherfuckers, man. So I don't
Absolutely.
trust any of them, and it's a
Yeah.
shame because now I don't trust the doctor now
No.
at
And
all.
every medication has its place, man, so, but
Yeah,
when you're over
overdo it
prescribing and
for the
abusing,
wrong, yeah.
that's where the problem comes in. So, and then
That's what I
a
mean.
lot of that stuff becomes highly addictive, man.
Yeah, I got to
So,
stop watching all that shit because, like I said, I don't even want to go to a doctor now, and that shit's gonna kill me because
right.
I'm
Isn't
gonna
that
need
the
to go
truth?
one day, and I'll be like, man, fuck that, because after COVID and after watching these documentaries on Oxy and all that shit, it's like I don't
Telling you.
trust none of these motherfuckers,
No,
and I'm not
dude.
saying they all bad, but I have
No.
that in my mind now that this motherfucker's gonna give me some shit that's gonna kill me. I ain't taking that, and it'll
No.
be some shit I need. You know what I mean?
Probably so. Yeah. I'm in the
Yeah,
same boat with you, man. I really am. So it'll have to be life or death kind of thing that I have to take this. So,
yeah,
but
yeah.
uh, but look,
I'm with
doctors
you.
have their place, man. You break a bone or
Yeah,
you
oh
need a
yeah, oh
surgery and
yeah.
you need stitches. I get it, but the doctor that's for a doctor to manage my everyday health
Yeah,
ain't happening, dude.
that's why I know I like Dana White's take on it because
Right.
that's what he had said, right, a
Yep.
while back. He was like,
Yep.
"Fuck a doctor," and I'm not, unless it's like you said, something that's a medical emergency. I don't
Emergency.
need a fucking doctor to tell me how
Right.
to lower my fucking cholesterol. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? I
Exactly.
don't. I don't need that.
High blood pressure, yeah. And look, some
Yeah,
of it's genetic, man, if it's heart
sure,
conditions or,
sure.
some other kidney problems. I mean, some of it's genetic, dude. I get it, and that's why
Yeah,
medicines are
yeah,
there. But
yeah. I
just to
would
be
never tell.
prescribing medications, it's just I'm not all for it, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell anybody to take medical advice from us. That's just that's
No,
just how I
please
feel
don't,
about it.
man. Yeah,
That
please.
yeah,
Look, take
I
two
just
Flintstones a day and everything will be all right,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. I just feel like probably 80% of the time there's a healthier way to combat
Yes,
what's going on with you. Your health
absolutely.
issues that we all have as we age. You know what I mean?
Right.
You start
Yes.
having gastro problems. You start, your joints are hurting. You got
Yeah.
headaches. It's like it's a lot of it's piss poor diet. A lot of
Yep.
it's bad sleep. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Little to no exercise. I mean, all that shit matters. You know what
It
I
does
mean? But
matter, man.
their answer to it is, I'll write you a script for something that's going to make you start feeling better, instead of
True.
saying, hey, have you walked around the block recently? And have you drank
No.
fucking water recently?
Right.
Because a lot, people are dehydrated. It makes you feel like shit.
Oh yeah,
But you don't
dude.
hear all that from a
No.
doctor. You
Yeah,
know,
no, exactly right, dude.
you got to go
I
on a
feel it, dude. When
podcast
I
and
don't
hear it.
drink enough water, I feel it.
Oh yeah,
And I'm sure most people do. But the
yeah,
first thing, I got a buddy of mine, dude. He probably 8 to 10 Coca Colas a day. And it's like,
yeah,
God, dude, you're killing yourself slowly, man. Yeah, and they're good.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they're good, but
Yeah, but you got to hydrate, man. That shit
absolutely,
matters. That shit matters the older we get, for sure,
yeah.
man. But
Well, we turned
anyway,
into a medical podcast now, buddy. So
that's okay. Fuck it,
yeah,
man. We're just
just don't
talking.
take our advice.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
No medical advice here. Hey, it's
Yeah.
just medical opinions, is all it is.
Medical opinions, man.
Yeah.
So, but
We've established that most doctors are full of shit and greedy.
absolutely.
Pharmaceutical companies are totally full of shit,
Yes.
and greedy. Now, yeah, we did say they have their place. I mean, there's been some good drugs developed, but
Yes.
it's just a shame when you start mixing it all in with the corrupt shit, and then you don't know what to trust anymore. They totally lost all credibility, and a lot of it stemmed from the pandemic. Now they
Yeah.
were
Oh,
they were
dude.
dirty before that, but I mean, as far as it opening a lot of eyes to where
Yes.
all the trust is gone. And I don't know
Right.
how they get that back. I mean, without maybe as a generation goes on and people start forgetting about what happened, but I'll never
And that
forget.
will happen.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
No, we
Yeah, of
won't
course it
forget
will.
about it. No,
No.
exactly. And you know what? I think a lot has to do, and look, the pharmaceutical companies have blame in that, of course. But you know who probably has the most blame in that is your federal government, our federal government that mandated all this bullshit.
Yeah, that's
Oh, you got
true.
a company over 40 or 70 people, whatever it was. You've got to have this. You got to
Yeah,
have this shot, and not just one, but you got to get the booster. And then we're recommending this and that, and
bro. That
it's just totally against your will, man.
I
If you're
can't
not, you're going
agree.
to lose your job.
I know, and I still can't get over just the evilness of that. It was so wrong to do that
Right.
to people, and nobody has been held accountable.
Accountable.
It
Yet.
is terrible because they knew, at least the medical people like the Faucis that were advising the government, they knew that this shit was unnecessary. They knew it had health
Exactly.
risk, and they
Right.
didn't give a shit. That is
Right.
so wrong on so many levels. And if anybody should be jailed, it should be that little shit right there because he is an evil
Abs
fuck to do that to people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you look at where COVID is today, buddy. It has done run. It's got so many variants now, and like you just hit on earlier, herd immunity, man. It just
Yeah,
runs its course. If it's the flu or the common cold or whatever it might be, man. And ultimately it was going to run its course. Look, I probably had COVID 3 or 4 times,
yeah.
So
Well,
and you just deal with it,
it's like, and we mention him a lot because look, I watch Rogan a lot, and it's not so
right?
much for Rogan, it's for the people that he has because he's got so many fucking different people on there that you can learn so much
Absolutely,
from. But back to Uncle Joe, he was saying himself that when he got COVID and was good within a week, he was done back working out. Back to Joe Rogan's normal self, pretty much.
right,
Instead of the media saying, "How did he do that?" They fucking demonized him. You know what I
right,
mean? For not for saying that I didn't take a vaccine.
right,
Instead of them, every not one of them said, "Well, how did Rogan get healthy? Let's figure that
right.
out." Instead,
Yes,
they started calling him a vaccine denier, and of course, he was taking horse dewormer, and
yeah.
it's just fucked up because
Ivermectin, and yeah,
yeah, you figured that'd
exactly,
be the first question on everybody's mind is, well, what did you do? How did you get healthy? Well, I fucking work
absolutely.
out. I try to eat right. I took ivermectin. I took this. I took some vitamins. Whatever he did, that should have been what was broadcasted, but it wasn't. And that just
No,
lets you know the ill intent behind all of this. You know what I
yes.
mean? It's
Yeah, and
terrible.
I know the second time I had COVID, buddy, I was sick. The first time it wasn't even COVID. I mean, I was in the hospital walking pneumonia, but it was the doctors just told me you got a
They know what
bad
it
case of the
was.
flu. No, they didn't know what
Yeah.
it was. And then
Yeah.
the second time, I was sick as a dog, man, and they offered me the monoclonal antibodies, and at that point in time, I was that sick, man. I said, if it would have been battery acid, they would told me would have healed me. I probably would have took it, man. But I'm gonna tell you, and it worked. I mean, look. 2 days later, I started feeling
Yeah.
better. My wife can attest that it was pretty rough the second time, but when third and fourth time, it was like felt bad for a few days and I rolled
Yeah.
on. But and I
Yeah.
do think
Now,
there's good things to deal with stuff like that, man. And
of course there
so
is. Of
but
course
just
there
to
is.
mandate and force and yeah, you know,
Mm, dirty, man. Yeah, because there's
dirty.
nothing like a healthy, person's immune system, and they
Right.
know that. That's what makes it.
Absolutely.
None of this was a mistake, and that's what makes
Right.
it so frustrating. And it
It
doesn't
is.
matter how long ago this shit was. It wasn't that long ago. People do not need to forget
Right.
what went on during that time because it was all orchestrated. You know what I mean? I'm sure they had some people in the government that were just kind of taking the advice of the medical professionals, but the people that started this shit, these the CDC and the FDA and
Yeah.
all, they knew this shit
Right.
wasn't as bad as what they were saying, and they still forced that fucking vaccine on people, that fucking clot
Yeah.
shot that was killing young people. You know what I mean? No telling what kind of adverse effects you're going to have later on in life over
Yeah,
that shit
five,
because they don't
seven, 10 years
know.
from now, they don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
don't
have no
fucking know.
idea. Infertility rates, like you just said, blood clots, cancers. Dude, you
Yes,
just don't know, man.
and
Yeah,
they don't care. That was the worst part, man.
exactly right. And I
It's
know
just
you and I
sick.
discussed that when it was in the heat of the moment with COVID, and it was like, I don't know what to do. And I mean, we've kind of come to the agreement back then. It was like, well, look, man, if people start dropping dead on the street, then I mean, we'll have to rethink our evaluation here, man. But for right now, I think I'm just going to roll
Yeah,
and see what happens.
yeah.
So.
Look, I start seeing them pass out left and right. I'm not going to be as stubborn.
Yeah, like the Spanish flu or some crap, dude, and they yeah, people are
Yeah,
dead on the street everywhere, then I'd have to think about it.
yeah.
But
Give me two of them shots. Fuck.
yeah, absolutely. So look, maybe he can do it. I hope he can. I think he can. I really do, because he's a
Yeah,
fighter, man. RFK is a fighter. He's a pusher. He's a fighter, and I don't think you're going to be able to back him down too much. So
nope. You're right.
uh,
Yeah, well, we're waiting. It's counting down. They still got a little bit of time to
Yes.
sabotage this whole fucking process, but I'm hoping they don't, get a chance to do that.
Well, you
But I'm
say that,
sure.
huh? And it's like, God, everything's going pretty damn smooth, you know?
And it's so funny you say that because I was just
Isn't
about to
it
say
something?
I don't fucking trust them because they're being
No,
too polite
I'm
with
with
all of
you.
this, dude. Something's fucking brewing. I just
Yes,
believe it.
yes,
It's so funny you say that because I was thinking about that earlier. I was
yeah,
like, man, it's too quiet. You got these
yeah,
motherfuckers coming out saying, look, peaceful transfer of power. I mean, that's what we
yeah.
ought to do. He won.
Conceded right away the next
Oh
day,
man,
and yeah, and it's like, oh, we're going to
something's
open
cooking.
our doors for you with the transition team, and then this, and then
Yep.
it's like, dude, yeah, I
Something's
don't know,
cooking.
man.
That's why they had that meeting on the fucking aliens the other day. Did you see that
Yes,
one?
yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's why they're trying to distract us, dude.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely, man.
they all but said the government has fucking aliens, and people have gotten injured messing with these crafts that they're trying to back engineer and shit. So they
Right.
throw all that out, and then it had me even more thinking. I started putting my tinfoil hat on. I was like, okay, something's fucking going on. I'm like, what could they be doing? And it hit me. I'm like, they're being too fucking peaceful right now with this
Yes,
election process. Something's
absolutely.
brewing. I'm sticking
Something's
by those
brewing, dude.
words. Yep.
Yes. Something
We'll
is
see.
brewing, but well, hopefully not. Hopefully we're overthinking this whole process, man, and hopefully not. Everything will be a smooth transition and we roll with it. But I don't trust them. I really don't,
No,
brother.
no, no, no,
I don't
not
trust
not
them.
no. Like I said, as peaceful as they're being right now, I don't. It don't seem right. I'm waiting on some huge fucking news to break, or to be like in January. Of course,
Yes.
something's going down. I just don't trust the process at all because they're being too cordial, man.
It's other than that, man. Maybe it's all of these departments, CIA, CDC, uh, everything, Homeland Security. Dude, they might have them shredding machines on full power, dude. You know what I'm saying? Trying to shred all of these documents, dude, that they have
You know,
accumulated over the last
dude,
8 years or whatever. You know,
can
there's
you
no telling, man.
imagine? Can you imagine what's going on behind the fucking scenes right now,
Can you
dude?
imagine? Dude,
I
they're in
mean,
total panic, man. They're in total
oh man,
meltdown.
they
It's a civil war within the Democrat Party. I
of
believe that.
course it
You know,
is,
they don't
dude.
know which
They're
way to
they're
turn. You know,
they're destroying hard drives and fucking
can you
zip
imagine? Yeah,
drives and fucking you name it. It's getting destroyed right now.
yeah. We ought to look up when we get off air, maybe before next episode. We'll look at like bleach bit sales. You know,
It's probably spiked, huh?
it's yeah. If it's a stock, I can only imagine.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, look,
so
I'm just picturing them running around like just fucking everybody just burning shit and shredding shit right
burning
now.
stuff. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Can't
it's
you
coming.
imagine, dude? Yeah,
You know it, man. You know it.
absolutely,
Or something's brewing and not worried about it. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah, I
But
don't
you know
know,
what,
man.
man? Look, the American people have spoke. More and more people are coming online with this. And as I've talked to a few people that don't like Trump, but they voted Republican because of what the Democrats have been doing, you know. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's a lot of them out there. And but yeah, the people have spoken, man. So it's just we're moving forward with this, and the people
Moving
ain't gonna put up
forward.
with too much shit. So
Moving forward. Well, let's move forward. Let's get the hell off of here. We'll let
gotcha.
you. We'll go retire to our quarters and
Absolutely.
get back at it in a couple days.
I'm
We'll
in. I'm
solve
in.
some more of these world problems.
Absolutely. I want to
Appreciate
thank
y'all.
everybody for tuning in. Subscribe,
Sure.
like, catch us on where we at, Shane? We on what? TikTok,
TikTok, fucking you name it, man.
yeah,
TikTok, YouTube,
YouTube,
fucking
yeah,
a little bit on Facebook. I don't do much on Facebook, but we do
yeah,
a lot on TikTok for sure, man. If y'all look us up on there, we're growing
yep,
pretty big on that. A little bit on X, but mainly here in TikTok is where we're dropping all this foolishness. So
exactly.
it's fun.
And I
Gives us
want to
something to
say too,
do.
man. Didn't you mention something about maybe some merch coming sooner or later, man? Some BS and
Yeah,
merch, man. Yeah,
yeah, we're about to get on all that. Getting all the little legal loopholes, closed and
gotcha.
then figuring all that out. But yep, we'll start dropping some links to all of that shit soon, man. We're
I'm in.
growing, dude. This shit's it's growing. It's
Absolutely.
growing, man. It's
Yeah.
it's I'm happy with the
Yep.
progress. I mean, it could be faster, but it's organic. You know what I mean? We're not paying for any of
Absolutely.
this shit. We're
Nope.
not buying followers. We're
Yep.
just getting on here talking shit, and glad that some people are actually enjoying it. It's
Yeah,
it's
and it's
it's
growing
fun.
slowly but surely. We got full-time jobs, and we get on here and we just try to speak the truth, and and hope people enjoy it, like us, and
Oh yeah,
subscribe, and just keep coming back, man. Because look, we can't do it without an audience, man.
that's
So
it. That's it.
so,
We just been here
but
talking to ourselves like a bunch of dummies.
it doesn't matter.
Anyway,
It's still fun. But yeah,
yep.
let's get back on it, man. And thank you for having me on, man. And we'll look Look forward to
Oh,
it again.
we'll talk soon. BSing with the guys. Thank y'all.
Later.